Okay guys, thanks for showing up. Just so you know, we have some lenders in here, a couple of top producing realtors, and then we got a special guest from Planet Homes, right? Planet Homes. And he's got an amazing seminar, on a very unique way or a really well-defined way of using a 203K program. Now, the reason I asked you guys to be here is because literally top producers. I want you guys to fire at this guy. From a realtor's perspective, what they really deal with, and I threw a lot of things at him the last time we stood in front. He did really, really well. I wouldn't invite him back, but he's an amazing speaker. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love it. It's great. So without further ado, if you could take over, please introduce yourself and let us know what we're in store for.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the introduction. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time, everybody. My name is Vincent Napolitan. I'm a national renovation sales manager with Planet Home Lending. Let me tell you a little bit about myself real quick before we get started. I've been in the renovation space for over 15 years. Back in the day when people used to do renovation loans, they were referred to as escrow holdbacks or escrow repairs, and very complicated. And the process has streamlined very well over the years. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a renovation loan. I'm going to show you examples. I'm going to show you tips and tricks. I'm also going to show you some pictures of some work that I've done over the years. And then, of course, if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, please save them for the end, and we'll go over everything. I'll make sure everything's covered. So with that being said, we will go ahead and get started, and we will talk about renovation loans, what they do, how they can help you grow your business, and how they can help you with some of the major challenges that we're experiencing today. Let me ask you this before we jump into the slides. What are two of the most overwhelming concerns in the industry right now? Overappraisals. Overbidding on homes, right? Appraisals coming in lower than what's actual, right? We're experiencing a lot of that. And what is the second biggest issue? Inventory. We have a major lack of inventory in California. So what we're going to cover today is I'm going to teach you, one, how this product will help you expand and grow your business, and two, how it will help with the inventory shortage that we're experiencing today. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. How many people are familiar with HGTV? Everybody, right? This is why renovation is becoming more and more popular. And I want to say major, big thank yous to HGTV for putting renovation on the spotlight and showing people what the loan can really do. What HGTV does not talk about is the financing that takes place behind the scenes. You will watch HGTV and you will watch these episodes a little bit differently going forward. What I mean by that is they have a tagline. Their tagline, renovation budget. Okay, when somebody's going through and they're doing a home, they have what's called a renovation budget. Do you think all these people have hundreds of thousands of dollars laying around in Waco, Texas? No. If that was the case, I think everybody would try to be there, right? What is the magical cure in Waco, Texas? So, Chip and Joanna Gaines, big promoters of renovation. All they do every single episode is renovate homes. But they highlight the word renovation budget, okay? Let's talk about Property Brothers. Same thing. Renovation, over and over. Every single episode that they do is renovation. Again, the tagline in their episodes, renovation budget. You will see that more and more now going forward. And then, of course, Love It or List It. This one is particularly one of my favorites, and the reason is because when they come in and renovate a house, you have two choices. You can either keep it and create it and customize it and make it your own, which I love, or you could sell it. Fix it up, sell it, and hope that you get the equity and you get to turn out what you're looking for. That's what renovation is all about in a nutshell. Fixing up properties, taking them, creating, and making your own. That is one of the huge benefits to renovation financing. So, let's talk about what a renovation loan is. It allows you to take a home in as-is condition, customize it, modernize it, and update it. Everything is done after the loan closes and funds. So it is one loan, one rate, one payment. Everything is done as is, and all the renovation work takes place after the loan closes and funds, okay? Let's talk about the FHA 203K and what it can do. The FHA 203K, the 203K breaks down into two pieces. The first piece is the streamline. The streamline, think remodel. This is a zero minimum with a $35,000 maximum. Perfect for first-time home buyers that want to come in and just get some appliances. Refrigerator, washer, dryer, dishwasher, oven. Okay, they can do freestanding appliances. Also, they can fix the home a little bit. Again, think remodel, new carpet, new paint, maybe some granite countertops. That is one of the benefits to what the FHA 203K Streamline can do. Again, think remodel, non-structural. But the FHA full standard 203K is for the big boy. What that is that is for the demo, the room additions, structural issues and repairs. That has a $5,000 minimum, but no maximum. What I mean by no maximum is the maximum is going to dictate whatever your FHA county loan limit is. Okay, so what is the FHA county loan limit for, let's say, Riverside County? Okay, so there you go. So whatever your property is, you could buy a home for $200,000. You could put $200,000 worth of work into it. You can demo a house down to its concrete slab and completely rebuild it. Let me say that again. You can demo a house down to its concrete slab and completely rebuild it. That is the extent of what the renovation loan can do.
So you can get a condemned house, take a bulldozer to it, and build a new house as long as it's within the loan limits?
As long as it's in the loan limits and as long as you're not changing the existing plat that's there. So if you have a house that's condemned, or if you have a house that's fire damaged, or whatever the case is, which, let's face it, we've been experiencing a lot of fire issues in California lately, right? So a house that's burned and has been damaged, a renovation loan will fix that. You can also demo it and rebuild it. Let's talk about inventory issues. Let's talk about some of the properties I've seen on the MLS. 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Perfect way for a realtor to expand on that is say, let's add a 3rd bathroom. Ask me how. That's what renovation loans do. Take that 4-bedroom, 2-bath, add a 3rd bathroom, and now market it as a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Great way to expand inventory. Also, when you're taking a customer out and you're looking at properties, they have to be in a certain zip code. Their son or daughter has to go to a certain school. But they're looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and all you're finding is 3-bedroom, 3-bath. Perfect. That's a renovation loan. That's what renovation does. It expands inventory. So now you can take that 3-bedroom, 3-bath, you can make it a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Let's not even get into the topics of how it works when you have homes that have unpermitted work. Again, renovation will come in and fix that. It will get the permitting done. It will add the stuff that you're missing or lacking to create that 4th bedroom, or take that conversion, and if it's able to be permitted, that's what the renovation loan can help with. Okay?
So if I have a garage that has an unpermitted room, I can put the loan in and then bring it up to speed with the permits?
We can either take that garage and we can customize it and put it back to its normal, or we can try to get it permitted and get it fixed up so you can add that additional bedroom. But of course, again, it's all going to be dictated by whether it's going to be able to be permitted or not. Okay? Let's talk about acceptable improvements for the renovation loan. Everything is acceptable. Custom blinds, modernizations and upgrades, windows, doors, flooring, kitchen cabinets, fencing, detached garages. Okay, that is the extent of what the renovation loan can do. I've seen a lot of customers where they have maybe numerous cars. They want to add a detached garage. You can do that. No problem. That's what the renovation loan does. Okay, so again, painting, landscaping, fencing, and roofing. Here's what I want to talk about. I want to highlight the word landscaping. FHA dictates whether or not you can move forward with custom options. What that means is there are only 2 things that will hinder an FHA 203K loan. One is swimming pools, two is landscaping. Those are two things that are luxury items that cannot be included in a renovation loan, but that's it. Here's what you can do, and here's why it says the word landscaping. You can remove trees and shrubs. You can remove the damage, but you cannot add to it. Here's the other thing that you can do with swimming pools. You cannot add a swimming pool. You cannot repair crack slabs or repair swimming pools, but you do have a $1,500 max buffer that you can use to hopefully get the pool up and operating. Maybe replace a pump or replace something that's gone wrong with the drainage. But other than that, $1,500 is your max for swimming pools with FHA. Foundation repairs, this is huge. This goes two ways. One, FHA 203K will help repair structural damage. Two, it will work with manufactured homes in order to add a permanent foundation. This is big. Okay, for manufactured homes, the way that it works is you can buy a property that's not on permanent foundation. You can add a permanent foundation in your financing to now make it lendable, which will include your 433A cert and your engineering cert, and now you can make that manufactured home lendable. It will not work on leasehold land, but it will work for somebody that owns the land or the space. Okay? And that is what the loan is used for in manufactured. Here's an average that was done. This case average was done by the Harvard Joint Center for Housing. And this study shows, on the average, every homeowner that buys a home within their first year puts in $25,000 worth of work into their home. Where do you think they get that money from? They drain savings. They go out and open credit cards with high interest rates. Or they borrow money from friends or family. You don't have to do that anymore with a renovation loan. Why would you want to go out and take a high interest rate of 20% or more on a credit card to be able to go out and buy appliances or buy upgraded countertops or whatever it is you're looking to do when you can have it all included in your loan for that fixed rate for your 30-year term? If you take the difference in a monthly payment of a $35,000 renovation budget, the average difference in price is anywhere between $160 to $180 a month. If you take that $180 a month and amortize that over your 30-year term of your mortgage, it would take a consumer almost 15 years to be able to save that $25,000 to $35,000 in renovation. Nobody's going to wait 15 years to fix up their home, period. It doesn't happen. Most homeowners don't even stay in their home 15 years. So with this, it shows that the study is there and consumers are fixing their home within the first year. But they don't understand what the renovation loan can really do. That's our job. We are there to educate and talk about how this loan can help in numerous ways. Let's talk about acceptable properties. You can do multi-unit, 1 to 4 units. If you have 5 units, you can convert it to 4. If you have 3 units, you can convert it to 4. Multi-unit properties work for renovation loans. You can also do condos. Here's the kicker with condos. You can only change the interior, not the exterior, of course. Why? Because you do not own the structure. You only are in the development. So you can change the interior, not the exterior, and your max financing is stuck at 100% compared to where you can go to 110% of after completion value, and we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes.
So if I have a 4-unit property, this can apply to all 4 units?
You can renovate all 4 units depending on the capacity and what the living circumstances are. So if you're, obviously when you're buying a multifamily unit and you're owner occupied, of course, because that's all that FHA does, you can occupy the unit and then you can renovate the units itself. And it depends, are you going to rent them? How are you going to do that? You're going to try to use the rental income. There's all kinds of ways. FHA is FHA. So the bottom line is there is no difference in qualifying. There is no difference in ratios. FHA is FHA, period. So the guidelines are the same. Right now, what we're doing is I'm just showing you the difference between the 203B and the 203K. Everything is dictated by code by FHA. So the 203B is your standard traditional FHA financing. Your 203K puts you in the structural change or renovation. That's the coding for FHA. So to your point, yes, you can renovate the units. It just depends on the living situation and how you're buying the property. Again, it's got to be owner occupied. Okay. Mixed use properties, we do see this a lot, where we see maybe the spouse has let's say a hair salon in the back of the house or in the garage. Okay, you can renovate the home, you just can't renovate the business. You can't change the business, and it can affect more than a certain percentage of your living situation. 25% or less for mixed use, okay? You can go into different categories of level, meaning if you have a 2-story, then it can be up to 30%. You can't go any more. They say the rule is 33, but I like to put that little cap under because people like to push the envelope. So, but again, it cannot affect more, and it cannot affect all of the living situation, okay? And then, of course, we talked about manufactured homes, how that works. You can do standard renovation. If they're already on permanent foundation, you can fix up the manufactured home. You can remodel it with the streamline. Or you can add a permanent foundation and do structural. You cannot add multi-units to manufactured. You cannot relocate manufactured, but you can fix the existing structure the way it is. Advantages to the home buyer. You don't have to worry about whether the seller is going to make improvements. Okay? You don't have to worry about trying to get that money, what you can do to make it fit FHA guidelines. How about REO properties? You don't have to have the work done prior to closing. This is huge. Again, with renovation, you close in as-is condition. Everything happens after the loan closes and funds. Okay? The definition of 6 months of financing and mortgage payments, that is for properties that are not livable, inhabitable. So if you're going to buy a property, and let's say you're going to do major demo, let's say $150,000, $200,000 worth of work, and the property is not livable. You can escrow up to 6 months of payments while you're not living in the property to help offset the cost while you're renting somewhere else. How do we define that? We define that with what's called a HUD consultant. The HUD consultant is always going to be utilized on your full 203Ks, always. The HUD consultant will dictate the amount of draws, the work period, and he is a project manager, so he oversees everything, he or she. And what they do is they go over everything based on the scope of work, but then they also talk about the living conditions. Is it affected? Are they able to live in the property or not? Let's say they're only able to live in the property for maybe 3 months after. So if that's the case, you can escrow up to 3 months of payments, max of 6. Depending on the scope and depending on when the property is going to become livable or not. How about advantages to the broker and seller? Commissions paid on time. Again, everything is taken as is, so it is not going to affect your transaction. The way that it works with renovation, when you're ordering an appraisal, we take a bid from a licensed general contractor, we order the appraisal, so it reflects the after completion value. Therefore, everything that's being addressed in the appraisal is going to show and dictate the after completion value and show the repairs that are being done. Let's talk about health and safety issues real quick. When you have a standard appraisal and it comes in and it comes back bad, termite damage, maybe there's some health and safety deficiencies in the property. Renovation will also fix that. You can add that to your scope of work. The contractor can add those repairs in. Of course, if debt to income and everything and ratios are in line, you can add that stuff in, and now you can just go ahead and move forward with your transaction. Nothing will hold up your transaction anymore. That's huge for renovation. You could sell properties in as-is condition. You don't have to worry about fixing the house up or trying to get somebody to come in and change countertops or carpeting or paint. The buyer can now do that and put that in his financing and fix it and make it his own or her own. That is the benefit to the renovation financing program.
Can I termite tent post-closing?
Can you termite tent post-closing?
Correct.
So if there's termite damage and it needs to be tented, okay, all the termite damage or work is going to take place after the loan closes and funds.
Correct.
Again, so it's going to be addressed in the scope of work.
So if I change it to a 403K.
203K.
I'm sorry, 203K.
Uh-huh.
Thinking investments. So if I turn it to a 203K and that tent is going to cost me a week or 10 days or whatever.
Yep.
I know they're only 48 hours, but sometimes you get it out there. I can close and then tent after and then build a mortgage payment in while they're living somewhere else.
You won't be able to build a mortgage payment in because normally in your standard closing you have anywhere between 30 to 45 days before your first payment anyway.
Got it.
So what's going to happen is your termite work and everything should take place way before you even do that. Now it may affect your move-in date
Okay.
if you're going to have the house tenanted, but again, everything is addressed in the bid, which is not going to hold up your transaction. So everything will happen after the loan closes and funds. Okay? The renovation takes place after the loan closes and funds, and then of course the biggest thing, no coordination of construction or renovation work. That means that the seller doesn't have to worry about going and fixing things. They can just take it in as-is condition, which is the biggest part for the renovation loan. The seller can leave the home the way it is. If it's deteriorating, if it needs to be updated, whatever the case is, they sell the home in as-is condition. The buyer gets to change it and customize it and make it their own.
What if there's a challenge that's found post-closing that needs to be fixed, but it's not in the scope of repairs?
So we're going to talk about that, and that's called a contingency reserve, and that is also set up in these loans. Great question. So how about this house? Is this something that you think you would show to your customers if you were a realtor?
No.
Probably not, right? But what if I told you it would look like this afterwards?
We can do that.
Okay, I see the eyes rolling. No, that's not what the renovation loan is going to do, but you get it, right? There's a lot of people and a lot of customers that would like to change things and make it their own. It's got to fit in their budget. It's got to fit in their scope of work. And no, we're not going to be able to take a dilapidated property and turn it into this multi-million-dollar mansion. But again, it's going to help the consumer feel that way because they're going to create it and make it their own. That is the biggest piece when customers are out and looking at a home. There is no such thing as a house that's turnkey. It doesn't exist. I could take you to multi-million-dollar homes that overlook the water in Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, it doesn't matter. There's going to be something that I'm going to want to change. Period. That's what the consumer looks at when they go and look at homes. They always envision, hey, this is a great house, great location, but it would be so much better if I had that kitchen island. Or if I could open up that kitchen and make it breathe a little bit. Or if I could open up and expand my master bedroom. That's what the renovation loan does. It helps you create that feel. Now, the loan will help you accomplish three big things. First, it will allow you to get more buyers to make more offers. It will get and create more listing opportunity. And then, of course, it will make your current hard-to-sell listing easier. Is there really such thing as a hard-to-sell listing right now? Probably not. But, again, it's the feel, creating the feel. And there are some properties out there that aren't moving because they do have some issues. It's still out there.
So if I have a property that's old style and it's closed in and they wanted the open living area, the open atmosphere, I could literally sell it as, hey, forget what you see, let's come in and change it to what you want.
Exactly.
And sell it like that?
You could, definitely. Create that feel and make it your own. That's a big piece. And what I have at the end of the presentation that you'll see is my tagline that I love to use is take a house you like and turn it into a home you'll love, because that's the feel. That's what the loan is all about, right? So let's talk about the contractor requirements real quick. Contractors must always be licensed and insured. You cannot work with the handyman next door. You cannot work with your cousin Vito or whatever the case is. They have to be licensed and insured for a lot of reasons. One is if a contractor is not licensed and insured and they come out to your property and they do some repairs and something goes wrong, who are you going to hold accountable? Do you think that that unlicensed handyman is going to come back? Probably not. But when you're working with a licensed general contractor, they have insurance, they have liability, they have everything to help insure the project. That's the benefit to working with a licensed contractor. You can work with up to 3 different trade contractors instead of a general. Let me make that a little bit more specific for you. You can work with an electrician to do an electrical. You can work with a plumber to do plumbing, and you can work with a flooring guy to do flooring. Up to 3 specialized contractors without going with a general contractor. Now, let's talk about how that works. If you work with those 3 specific trade contractors, they must perform the scope of work in the trade that they are licensed in. So a flooring guy cannot go do electrical. A plumber cannot go do flooring. Okay, you understand. All 3 of them must go through a validation process. They all must be licensed and they all must be insured. Now, if you're working with a general contractor can sub out to anybody and everybody he wants. 3 contractors, 8 contractors, it doesn't matter. That's the benefit to working with a general contractor that's licensed and insured, okay? That's what I always recommend. Try to look for that licensed general contractor. Here's 3 ways, 3 sites that you can use to help find a contractor. 1, homeadvisor.com. They are really, really good at helping you find licensed contractors and insured contractors in your zip code. I don't know if you've ever been on the site, but you can go on there and you can plug in your information, you can plug in the work that you want, and then it's going to give you 30 to 40 licensed contractors in your area by zip code with phone numbers, addresses. It's going to show you their validation. It's going to show you everything. Houzz.com, H-O-U-Z-Z. That's another website that you can use to try to find contractors or ideas to change your home. And then, of course, angieslist.com. These are 3 sources that you can utilize to help find contractors in your area. You as a loan officer cannot refer a single entity licensed contractor, but you can refer to a source to where they can find multiples and make a selection of their own, meaning the consumer, okay? Let's talk about the inspection process. Again, on full standard 203Ks, you will always have what's called a HUD consultant. The way that you find a HUD consultant is you can either go on Google and type in HUD consultants in your area. I need to find a HUD consultant in Moreno Valley. It'll pull up dozens of HUD consultants. You can also go on HUD.gov and find hundreds of HUD consultants. The great thing is they don't have to go through a validation process. They are already HUD inspector approved with FHA. So if you find a HUD inspector, HUD consultant, they are already approved with FHA and you can refer a HUD consultant, but you cannot refer a contractor. Understand the difference? Perfect. So let's talk about an example of a 203K streamline, limited, okay? Here's why I keep using the differences in wording. Streamline, limited. It used to be called streamline. They changed it to the word limited because a lot of people got it confused with a streamline FHA refi. By no way, shape, or form is it going to be that easy. I hate to say it, but it's not. But they changed the word to limited, so you'll hear me use the word streamline or limited. And then, of course, for the full 203K, you'll hear me use the word standard because they used to call it full. Now it's called standard, okay? So let's talk about this. You have a purchase price of $250,000. You have a renovation budget upgrade cost of $20,000. Renovation account of $2,000 takes you to $22,000. Here's that contingency factor that you had mentioned earlier. Every single loan, whether it's a limited or a standard, streamline or full, you will have what's called a contingency reserve. That is for the SH factor. Stuff happens, okay? So that 10% contingency is there if a contractor starts doing some work, unforeseen repairs, he knocks down a wall, finds some mold, okay? Now he doesn't have to come back to the customer and say, hey, this is outside of your budget. I need another $1,500 from you. Nope, don't need it. We have it in your contingency reserve. Your contingency reserve goes into 3 categories. 10% minimum, which is the standard. The 10% contingency is on all of them. Okay, you're limited and you're full. And then, of course, it goes up to 15% The reason that it would increase and go to 15% is because if utilities were not on at time of inspection. Because what happens is when the appraiser goes out and nothing is able to be inspected properly, they raise the contingency reserve to help in case something goes wrong when the utilities do go on. And then a max of 20%. You'll see a max of 20% in contingency reserve for those big scopes of work, those demos, those room additions. You can go up to 20% to protect the customer. And again, that's something that we go over with the customer and in the underwriting process. We review that and we say, hey, we need to bump this to 20. And then the customer would definitely love to have that because that 20% will go very, very far. You can pay that in two ways. One, you could pay it in cash and it's 100% refundable. Or two, you can finance your contingency reserve. If you finance your contingency reserve and you do not use it, it goes to a principal balance reduction when everything is done. And you will get that money back one way or another, okay? Now, after improved value jumps to 272. The reason that it jumps for 272 is because it's based on the after completion value. Again, not every appraisal is going to come in at the full 272. We're going to talk about that in a second. But in this situation, we're going to show you that it did come in right at value where it needed to be. Down payment is based on your total loan amount. Okay, 3.5% down is the standard. That's never going to change, but it's based on your total. Your $250,000 purchase price plus your upgraded renovation budget or cost. You're going to put your down payment on your total. That's not going to affect your purchase contracts. It's not going to affect your RPA. The reason is because you're going to write, as a realtor, you're going to write your offer as standard, $250 purchase price, 3.5% down, but the only change that you will make to your purchase contract is the wording. Instead of 203B FHA financing, you'll put 203K FHA financing. The reason that it must be done correctly that way is because, again, you are identifying in your RPA the financing type, and it must be there. If it's not there, we need to add an addendum at the end, and we will definitely catch it. Every underwriter will catch that. It doesn't usually get overlooked. Maybe one or two off here and there, but the bottom line is the purchase contract must reflect the type of financing. Okay? Down payment, again, 3.5% of the total. So your loan amount plus mortgage insurance, obviously, right? You've got your MIP because, again, it's FHA, gives you your total amount of financing of $262. This is the seller contribution of 6% with closing cost as well. So what that means, again, FHA is FHA. Sellers can contribute a max of 6%. 3.5% is your down payment. Nothing changes. The buyer or the consumer is the one that's going to benefit from the renovation financing, and their down payment is on